Welcome back to another episode of the South by East podcast where we discuss music, culture, and everything in between. Brail, what do we got today?
Man, today I'm excited about this one. I saw you sent me this article, and I'm super hyped about this. This is one of my favorite groups of all time. OutKast from the ATL, the ATLians themselves. They need no introduction, but we're giving them one anyway.
Yeah.
They have been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and there's a cool article here from Complex Music that we're going to read just a little bit of. It says, this weekend, OutKast will be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, cementing their status as a transcendent group. Because of the occasion, we found ourselves thinking about the interesting and unexplored stories from their careers. You may know a lot about OutKast, but here are some things that you didn't. I beg to differ, but I'm going to read them anyway. 22 things you didn't know about OutKast. Here's 6 out of 22. As they get inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Miss Jackson is about Erykah Badu's mom. Andre dated Erykah Badu and had a child with her named Seven. Miss Jackson was an apology directed at Badu's mother after the two's relationship had come to a tough end. Did you know that?
I did know that.
I did know that.
Because Erykah Badu is from where?
I don't know.
South Oak Cliff.
South Oak Cliff. I did not know that.
Yes.
Hey, we get some additional facts. I like that. But I did know about Seven and whatnot. So Rosa Parks sued them for using her name.
I didn't know.
I did not know
I
this.
didn't know that.
I did not know this. After 6 years, the lawsuit was finally settled when their label agreed to pay for several educational programs, a tribute CD, and a broadcast special about Parks. I'm not mad at that. So,
But how though? Like, do you realize how many songs got Halle Berry in there? Halle Berry can have money as long as.
Hey, but I didn't know about this settlement. I don't know if Halle Berry getting paid or not. I don't know. She might be getting paid too.
She didn't spend several generations of being mentioned in songs.
So I thought about this and I was like, so why would this be such a big deal? But then I realized, I don't know if you ever heard the story about Bombs Over Baghdad and like where it came from, like where the title came from.
Oh no.
So like the song Bombs Over Baghdad, Andre was getting, or I think it was both OutKast at the time, they were getting interviewed, and they were like, man, this is such an iconic song, Bombs Over Baghdad, it's so amazing. Is it about the struggle? Is it about the war in Iraq? What brought this about? And Andre was like, well, man, we were working on this song, and it just kind of fit. It sounded pretty good.
I always wondered, like,
it ain't got nothing to do with the verses.
It nothing.
So I'm like, Rosa Parks, like, throw my name on this song. And y'all just rapping
they
about
do talk about getting to the back of the bus.
They do.
They do.
Yeah, I'm like,
but hold up. So is she suing? Nah, look, Rosa. I didn't been to the music. But I'm still in this. Is she suing everybody that wrote about Rosa? They even got a sweatshirt that say, "Nah, I'm good." This is based on
Rosa Parks. I have no idea, bro. I have no idea. Somebody's estate was mad, but I thought about it and I was like, the name of the song is Rosa Parks. But they actually never say Rosa Parks in the song. I know that song pretty well. They actually never say her name in the song.
I know they never say, bro.
So they got one on that one.
I'm kind of salty about that one, Miss Rosa. I think that's being petty.
Hey,
that was being petty.
At that point, they probably had the funds. I think the stuff they did with it is good. A tribute CD, that's a little petty. A tribute CD and a broadcast special. Hey, she done already shown you her character. She ain't playing. She ain't playing.
If you want to take it there, she can be petty with you.
She going
there. You know what I mean?
Right. All right, next one. Big Boy had a 3.8 GPA and eyed NYU before a rap. I knew about his academic achievement. I didn't know about NYU. While Andre didn't finish high school, I knew that. Big Boy graduated, and according to an interview with Spin in 1997, planned on studying child psychology at NYU. I didn't know that. I like the way, this is him, he says, I like the way kids grow and adapt, he said at the time. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
So how does International Players Anthem fit into the child psychology degree?
Hey, listen.
I just got questions. Look.
Don't think about it too much.
Look. I know that spaceships don't come equipped with rear view mirrors. But I'm trying to think if you had to be part of the way in there, and some of those classes in that 3.8 had to be telling you that. I don't know if International Players Anthem is the exact. I could get with the Roses, with Rosa Parks, the Bumzo, like they just having fun. Fish and Grits, Elevators,
Listen,
International Players Anthem though.
listen, I'll go further than that. So, do you know how many studio albums Big Boy has?
Studio albums?
I think it's like upwards of 6 because he's been making albums since OutKast.
Oh yeah, he did.
And I have heard all of them. I don't listen to Big Boy. I don't listen. Like I have listened to all of them. I enjoy his music.
Yeah.
But the content of Big Boy's music,
not child psychology.
I just can't get. It's not child psychology. There's a lot of examples.
It's not Blue's Clues.
It's not. Yeah. When he gets on the mic, it's Sir Lucius is a little different.
Yeah.
So next one, they had 2 names before settling on OutKast. I thought this was interesting. They initially selected the name 2 Shades Deep. That's hot. Found out it was already in use. Then Misfits, which was also taken. But after looking in the dictionary at misfit, they saw its synonym, OutKast, and chose to use its phonetic spelling. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I think it's one of the most iconic moments was the Source Awards, same Source Awards where it was the East West Coast beef fight.
South got something to say.
And he said the South got something to say, and that's still one of my most favorite lines, man.
Yeah.
And I just thought the group's name was OutKast. And their big complaint was being treated
like an outcast. Yeah.
And it was like this iconic moment. Like, it's one of those moments you think about whenever somebody is not giving you due credit for your work, for your effort. And in my mind, like the first thing that comes to mind is the South got something to say.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just one of those deals. And so I just thought, man, that one of the most iconic moments from hip hop is not like the normal pop person. They gonna know Roses. Mm-hmm. They gonna know
the later stuff.
Hey y'all. Yeah. They gonna know that stuff, right? But when you are hip hop, you know, like that was kind of this breakout moment for OutKast. Now the music was good before, but that moment, man, was kind of something that concreted them in.
Yeah, and I love that they used their platform at that time because they won the award.
Yeah,
right? They won the award,
yeah.
And so it's like I was an outcast, and now I've won the award. I've shown you, but rather than saying like I told you I was great, I told you that I had. They said he talked about the discrimination in the industry. And says the South has something to say. And what I love about that is that it puts on for all of those who have been outcasted, as they might say, and speaks to that. It's not just about this moment being for me and me proving you wrong, but me saying this system of discrimination is wrong. And there are people with value here that you're not here. It's not just me. We have something to say. And that's part of what I loved about that.
What people don't understand is that P and Cash Money, No Limit, all them were doing their like absolute thing, but never getting recognized because you had so much of this East West Coast beef thing that was taking up all the oxygen in the room. Mm-hmm. And so you had these and P was making more money than all of them because he was doing self distribution.
Right.
And so he was like, no. I'm gonna distribute this myself. And he really put a lot of people on game about how to really take back some power in the music industry, but he's not really recognized as that. But he taught a lot of people in the game about, no, man, this is what you need to do to keep more of the money yourself. And then you had like Swisher House, you had Rec Shop, you had all these like down south people that were putting out, and it was recognized like quality music, all the mixtapes, all the. Like you had that going on, but it was not getting any of the oxygen in the room because it was also not the stuff that was getting played on like 106 and Park and stuff like that. It was not getting that play. But when you went to the party, it was the stuff that was getting the play, right? It was like that was it.
Well, and it's like there's a bigger system there at play too, because there was a lot of discrimination against the South. So I remember when I was growing up in the early 2000s, when I'm late 90s, early 2000s, when I'm really getting into my own with music, and that's really when the South. This is shortly after this, when the South takes over the music industry and Atlanta becomes really a hub, which, I mean, you already had Usher, you already had artists, but it wasn't really recognized, especially in the hip hop space. But like the South for like the next 10 years takes over most of the music industry, and still to this day, if you watch like the Breakfast Club and Ebro in the Morning, you'll hear them talk about, man, we didn't really want to give, you know, what felt to us like country bumpkins at that time their play. We said that we had everything on hip hop, like we were the Mecca, and then you had Tupac, which we could accept him. He goes over to he's from the East Coast and goes over to the West Coast. And so we got this competition, like, so we'll accept their kind of flavor, but we really did not want to give the South their props, and they broke their way into the game.
But you said something in there that's key, is kind of Atlanta really brought it like that. Like Atlanta has this long story history, but there's something that happened like in the 90s where Atlanta became like this mecca for blackness. I was in Atlanta not too long ago, and I told my wife, man, I don't know of a blacker place in Atlanta. Every time I come to Atlanta, man, you feel like just so like this place celebrates me. Yeah. Like it's just one of those deals. Like you get a feeling. Have you ever been in Atlanta?
I've never been to Atlanta.
Oh man, look! I'm just telling you, like you just feel like this place celebrates. Like behind Atlanta are probably New York and Chicago, and you just feel like, oh, they're gonna celebrate my culture in these places. And so it's like that hub. Like even now when you think of movie studios and all that kind of stuff, like we have our places in Atlanta. And so it's like the economy, the different things of that nature are driven by that. And so Atlanta gave this place, right? It gave this place, just like Philly with neo soul and different things of that nature. Yeah. Like it had to have this place because they had to have places where you could go in and cultivate and nurture these things. And so when you think about like T.I. and some of them like coming out of their Goody Mob and you know the later iteration of CeeLo, but you had all those different people coming out of there kind of deal, So Def, you know, all those different things that allowed it to generate. Even like when you think about Houston and some of that sound there, New Orleans with some of that sound there, right? And so you had to have those cultural hubs, and then they took what was once a slight and made it like their flavor, and then people were like, "Oh, I want that."
Soul food of culture, and it is beautiful. And I love hip hop so much, but I love like the role that hip hop got to play of giving this voice to the voiceless. And you know, it's the culture, the skating in Atlanta. It's the food. It's the grills down south in Texas.
Yeah, I might say like Paul Wall.
Yeah, with the grills.
But if you playing a college football game and the player got gold teeth, good chances are they lived in Florida. And like you just know like, hey, gold teeth and dreadlocks. They probably that's Florida. So you like, but it was like, hey, this is one of those things. Like when you got Edrin James and all those boys, and it was like this nurturing of these things that once were slights. And so I mean, and it had a sound.
Yep,
it had a sound, and so it's like the sound. It started breeding all these movements. Start breeding the sound with them, and then we got to enjoy the sounds that came out of them.
It was beautiful, man. It was beautiful. Thank you, OutKast.
Yeah.
Andre played most of the instruments in Hey Ya. I just kind of assumed this one.
Yeah.
The bass was the only instrument that he didn't play in real life on the song. In the video, though, he played every part. Yeah. If you didn't know that, you should just go look up some stuff about Andre.
Yeah.
The flute album it exists. So you can check that out if you want to. But Next one. Idlewild was originally a video treatment. I thought this was interesting. Originally, Idlewild, I really like that album actually, and the movie, was conceived when OutKast first became involved in the soundtrack to the film Scooby-Doo. It wasn't intended to be more than a small music video treatment until HBO became interested, and it soon became even too large for them, ultimately receiving wide theatrical releases.
Wow.
I really like Idlewild.
Wow.
I love that album too. I thought it was a great follow-up to Speaker Box Love Below, and it's the last actual OutKast album we have. And like, man, my joint was Morris Brown. Music makes the world go round. They had the college band there, the A&M. Oh man, y'all freaking love that album. Their debut album was made in Bobby B's studio. They would later buy Bobby Brown's studio and christen it Stankonia Studio.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So they had their own studio from Bobby Brown. And that is the last one that they have on this list. It's the last one we have on this.
Wow.
But yeah, man, I love getting an opportunity to just celebrate. OutKast was big for me, man, and seeing how they did what they did and the eclecticness of their music. I still think about them when I like working on a record. I'm like, man, it ain't got enough OutKast in it. I could bring some other flavors to this. Like, I love how they did a new style. I love the way that what's their producer?
Sleepy Brown, Killer Mike.
No. So there's a group that produced them.
Oh,
Underground Noise. Underground Noise.
Yeah.
Underground Noise, like the way that they created a whole new sound, and like, I mean, I've seen so many dope videos about like how the Miss Jackson beat was made and like the type of things they use and just like the struggle that went into that and all of just so much life comes through their music.
When you think about it, they went from Dickies and T-shirts to the fur pants of that album
Elevators to Oscars
to Hey Ya, and I was just like you said, then getting it to the international player where their style totally changed again, that. Like, it was just one of those deals where.
I think one of the beautiful things about OutKast, and sometimes, like, I mean, I've had a lot of arguments with hip hop heads about this, but I think one of the most beautiful things about OutKast also is their friendship and how their friendship allowed them to grow. Like, Big Boy, if you watch his musical transformation, he grows and matures to talking about his kids, in which he always involves, like, his family. When you listen to his verses, a lot of his verses are mad underrated, but he talks about, like, his son and his multiple kids and his wife, and he talks about his family a lot, but it's always very anchored. The stuff he does is like, man, it's playalistic. It's here from the first album on. Andre goes through multiple metamorphoses and goes out and flies out. And there's a point in their career, bro, when Andre was out doing movies and he was doing he went on the feature run. And that's when people really started saying, like, he's the GOAT, like, because he's like killing everybody's record, all these modern records for a time. And that's really when I was like going to college. And so he's just murdering it. But Big Boy was touring OutKast music by himself. Like to keep that name alive, and then like he comes back on Idlewild, they get back together, and like the song Morris Brown is one of my favorite. Doesn't have Andre on it. Like they couldn't get him in the studio to do it. But Big Boy's on there, and he says they still ask the question, he's like, "Are you in 3000 still making songs?" So on and so on, and I go on. Heck yes! Like he's just like he continues to put on for his boy, and you don't really, not a slight to Andre, Andre is doing his thing. You don't really hear Andre do that, not in the music so much, but you know when Andre talks about making a solo album, he's like, I could never do what Big Boy did. He's like, I have my own piece. He's like, but I'm not as confident as Big Boy. I can never do. And so you see them.
Killer Mike talks about that too, though. But here's the deal, and I've heard Sleepy Brown talk about this too. Here's the deal: when you have a Andre on your team, you got to know the environment that allows them to be the best version of them. Yeah. Now, you need a Big Boy. You need that person that's going to be like,
I'm anchored, I'm here, people know what to expect.
But you need, for that team to be successful, you got to know the environment that kind of creates that. And you're like, he's going to be that. And I still know that when it really comes down to it in time, yeah, we're gonna come through. He can, and he gonna show up and he gonna kill it. And we're gonna look at each other and we're gonna be like, I don't even know.
Yeah,
They
fam.
yeah.
And I think that's beautiful too. Like, and I've seen a lot of debates, and I've spurred some. I got some on my YouTube where I've go in on weigh in on that debate myself. But like, really, their story is one of friendship and kinship, and it's given us some great music over the years, man. But how do y'all feel, man? How do y'all feel about OutKast getting inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Or what is your favorite OutKast song if you are a fan? We'd love to hear about it. There in the comments. Continue to like, comment, subscribe, share it with a friend. All of those things help us so much in the algorithm. We really appreciate y'all, and we'll see you next week
In the intersection.